So, yeah, this is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster, and you're watching on Location Cats, Channel 1. In the 13th season of the Kal Kat series, Kal Kat show. The show ended actually in 2015, but we've been carrying it on for 6 more years. So, we'll let it die. It won't die. It is technically roughly a few days or a week or so after it's a week or so roughly after the 14th birthday of the cats of the KTS, the Abracadabra, who were about 11 months old when they were purchased in late May. That would make their birthday 11 months earlier in the previous late July or late June. Also, one of the nieces, Erica, had a baby and named it Dean. I'm assuming after the second baby. This is Neil and Dean. This second one named after, I'm assuming James Dean, but Eugene isn't there, Dad's middle name. But yeah, so I thought I'd mention that. Anyways, one of the original Sapcast. Because everybody's waxing nostalgic at Sap Productions, at least. What's left of it. It's not a thing anymore. It's just what's left of it. They want to see home movies and nostalgia and stuff. Dan also had a kid in December. Well, his wife did. Pam did. Another one. So there's Dagny. She's not named after the Game of Thrones character, but rather the other one from Atlas Shrugged, oddly enough. Anyway, I will name names at this point, since nobody knows who any of those people are. They were not the people from the thing 2 years ago, necessarily. Some of them were. There was never any update that filled in the gaps there. There was originally about 24 of the Browne video productions were put up on the channel. Nobody watched them, but apparently Robert and Kathy were paying close attention to whatever went up and found them and immediately told Rachel. And Rachel said, "Take that down, because my kids might be in it." That's what was going on with that. I just took it down. And then now years later, there with the Amazon release of On Location, the series, the journals, but with all of the names changed and with all the drama taken out, they want some credit for the home movies, so which aren't presented in it, incidentally. So the cast wants some credit for when I was a failed child star. So they want some of that. They want some of that sweet green money. There wasn't any money to be had, but they think there is. We didn't make any money on it. They want the 24 videos back up somewhere. Mainly Martha. She wants to be the star again, you see. But not to show the ending of that slideshow. The current Browne Productions producer, my mother, reviewed the slideshow, and she said, "Why didn't you just cut out the ending? The last 2 minutes with the kid in it." They wouldn't have minded at all. They wouldn't have just cut the ending out, put it back up. But who's going to watch this anyway? Mark's Card's point was, who's going to watch it anyway? As a co-producer of the Kal Kat show, it's probably not a trap. But I want to do other things. I don't want to go obsessing over putting up the family videos from essentially the TV series that we did, the On Location series. That's basically what it was, in its holiday special form, necessarily just to be humiliating. Also the Brian, there's another Brian. There's a Brian who's technically a nephew who's a little older than me, because of Yvonne had done a kid earlier before me. See, and he was put up for adoption and found right after the funeral. So he has seen the slideshow. He has seen some of the videos. He has seen the pictures. There isn't much new for him to see, though. And he's not asking for it. As Martha just wants to have some notoriety on the YouTube without having to do any of the legwork. She doesn't want to start up a YouTube channel. She just wants to go to, ooh, famous brother who has a YouTube channel that has, holy crap, he's got like all these videos. My goodness. If I put it up there, wow, I can be popular again. They can look at my stuff. That's what she's in. So, yeah. I thought like 2 years ago you guys didn't want to have that stuff up because you guys were like, no, we can't do that because then ex-boyfriends and ex-husbands of various kinds will find the videos and find out where they were 20 years ago. I'd be mad. 20 years ago. So what I have been working on is not that. But I was working on the On Location journals, and they saw the books here. Here is the Amazon covers. The On Location. Let's see. Here we have the Pine Hill Saga and the Evergreen and Undergrad Saga. See roughly what they look like. And we have First Press and Valley Stories. And you can see the room looks a little different. Yeah. So, also, email stuff. Okay. So yeah, we're getting flagged by Hasbro. I don't know, not Hasbro. Mattel. Yes. No, those are classics figures. So that's different. Yeah. They have to watch the second half. Everybody's freaking out about the first half of He-Man. And they gotta watch the second half because the second half is like makes it all make sense. So they just freaked out over the first anyway, so it's kind of the same case here. It's similar here. The Kal Kat and Mark's Cards idea was a bizarre germ of an idea because a lot of 30 years later, a lot of people, or 30 years later, a lot of people want to wax nostalgic for their old stuff they did in cheesy movie form. And we were joking about it years ago, like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we did like a Starcrackers update, but not based on the books, the Vanguard's books, but based on the original cheesy 2014 release on YouTube movie from 2000, originally from 1992. And then 2011 was the official release. The DVD release version was 2011. But on YouTube it was 2012, 2014. Starcrackers. Do an update of it with some of the update cast. And we're joking about it, brainstorming about it. Haven't come up with anything directly yet, although it's hinted at in the Maelstrom story, which we finally did put out during the pandemic. We put out the Maelstrom story. Yeah, so we're all like, yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do a sort of a kick. It's not a Kickstarter because there's no money, but it's sort of a Kickstarter in that we want to like drum up an idea of a Starcracker spinoff, and of course, it'd have to be Pirate Marquette Thompson, because where else would you go from here? I mean, minimal sets and everything. Yeah, Marquette Thompson and. Which is related to the Star Trek thing, and that the two ships that we built for the Star Trek thing, the Chimera. There's a new Chimera movie, Starship Locations, coming out. It's Starship Locations: Strange Worlds is the title, working title so far. Yeah. What were we? What was the? It doesn't matter what the secret title was. Yeah. So we're gonna do that. It's mainly me though, because Mark Scart's still isn't available most days, so it's going to be me. And the ships look a little bit like an update of the Josh Browne and an update of the Zuri ship. So we'll just kind of fake it. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm not saying it's definite or anything like that. It would be funny. I'm not sure if they would be little 10-minute sketches. But it would be funny to have like let's see what's going on with with Thompson and Carrie, because they're on board, absolutely. Silly Kelly played Carrie is, oh, I totally want to do that, and Thompson is totally like, yeah, I'll totally, I'll do it too. Morton Roadkill, of course. They're all on board. Yeah. Well, there are other characters that I play, so of course they're on board. Yeah, I'm not schizophrenic or anything. Yeah. So, Mark Scarzo cameo as Clark, returning to the role that yeah, based on the Steve Clark. Yeah. So, I don't know. That might be a really bad idea. Oh, yeah, maybe horrible. Yeah, but back to the On Location, Amazon stories, the 9 of these up here. Initially doing the journals, putting out the high school journals, because not on Google and Earth and YouTube, but rather on Amazon, so that it's Kindle versions of them, so you can read journal. It's nonfiction, based on a true story, but since the names have been changed and some of the events have been changed, they're somewhat fictionalized or exaggerated, so that it's nonfiction, but it's not a tell-all either. It's sort of a hybrid of sort of fictional adventures back to On Location with names changed. Like there's the names like Jamie Mezzi is something else, and Adam Browne something else, or John Kerr something else. Yeah, they changed the name, or even the Jung Swan people who changed the names. Marshall Sportist instead, and Kyung Yi Kim instead of Tan Kim, stuff like that. So it's all changed, and it tells the story of from roughly freshman year of high school all the way through college, and then the leaving Jung Swan church group tells everything, and it's kind of fun, and yeah, it really doesn't go into the COL cult stuff hardly at all, because I wasn't in the cult. They even knew that on the thing. I wasn't in the cult. I was in the regular thing in the energy class. But there were some energy classes I was privy to some of that stuff. But I didn't realize it was that bad because I was in it at the time. And as I gradually went over to church more and more in the 90s, I gradually discovered that I want to serve two masters. You can't serve the Grand Master and serve the Lord. That doesn't make sense. And also back problems, because I was like 35, 36 at that point. I was an instructor, and it was difficult to, I had like, I have disability and learning disability, so I couldn't do it for that long. And I was going to leave anyway. So 2007, I left, and quoting that, and returned a few times in 2008 or so. Then there was more school in... I was at San Jose State again from 2006 to 2008, and then briefly in 2011. I left all the job club stuff out. I left all the job training stuff out. Didn't include any of that. The only job that I left in there in pieces was the Spartan Daily job. Spartan Daily, and Spartan Dining Commons. Those two are in there. I left those two because they were good. I took out all that. So all the drama is not in there. There's the Christmas... The Christmas specials are not in there in the On Locations. The drama of the Christmas 95 is not in there, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's not in there. All the drama got taken out. So if they're going to look at On Location and freak out, relatives are not going to freak out because they're not going to read anything that's freaky in there. They even changed the names of X's and stuff. Yeah, so that's all changed. Now, we wouldn't do that with the release of Browne videos. I think the only way to release the Browne videos is to release not the 24 that were produced, because I cut all of the boyfriends out of them. So had they actually watched them, they would have been like, oh, you cut all the exes and boyfriends out. It's a little weird. No. Go back and give them the originals episodes as they aired. Cut out all the mistakes and things in them. And all the embarrassing stuff in them, really. Save that for the bloopers reel. or gag reel of each of them, kind of like what was done already with the 2014 editions, 2011 to 2014 editions. Release the condensed versions of those stories up, so there's no embarrassing stuff that's in the bloopers reel, and then say kind of like how the Jackass guys did the Steve-O stuff for the Jackass 4 that's coming out, Jackass Forever, where they had him talk about stuff and show clips and things like that, and explain them. I think that's the only way to do it, because then they can't complain. Then it's like, okay, this is completely like given the okay of Browne Productions and the other producers and everything. It's going to be, we're not going to show anything questionable, such as if a character tells a dirty joke, that won't be in there. That would be in the outtakes. It did happen a few times, or questionable like gag or whatever in there, which there isn't really all that much of, anyways. It's not really that interestingly the early on location, but it is interesting in the sense that you would actually get to see the pre-Kal Kat show, Kal Kat, and it's kind of like weird synergy because you have that going on, and instead of Martha, the older sister, attempting to control the whole thing by saying, I want copies of it so I can have my own versions, it'll be more like, well, I'll give her a copy of the old versions, but the actual online version will be way better, and it's the version I directed and produced. So, yeah. She'll get a version. It just won't be the best version. The best version's going up online. And I don't know when that's going up online, though. But the 2011 reissues, just being the 10th anniversary of that, why not the 2021 reissues? But yeah, she can't be in charge of that. Take that over. Most of those videos, the failed child star, most of those videos were me directing the camera and going around. It's mostly me. Why would you want that stuff? Mark's Cards' theory is that I might have some stuff of hers that I'd filmed and would air that too. She wouldn't want that. Then she could catch me at it, and then like, oh, I shouldn't have put that up. I don't have any of her stuff. All I have is her wedding to Ian, and let's see what else. The after drama 1995 meeting in the backyard, in which you can't hear anybody, and they're having, I guess we're having dinner. We're having dinner in her backyard, and I think Jeff was filming it, one of her exes, and it was really dull and boring. That's about it. And then there's some episodes where there was one where there was a Chuck E. Cheese. Went to a Chuck E. Cheese. That one's in that. I think she did that one. Yeah, with Danny and Chuck E. Cheese. Other than that, there isn't anything in that original 2011 release that is anything she directed. So, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, and the camera was really shot on shitty. It was bad. The camera was really bad. Yeah. So this is a long form thing, whereas the Star Trek thing, the Chimera thing is first. The Chimera, at least the pilot of the Chimera thing is first. Starship Locations, the game, officially starts this year with the Great Tribble Hunt. Is the name of the first episode, and we hope to, and this might jinx it, we hope to, I don't believe in that anyway, we hope to have it out by Halloween. Only a couple of months, but we have all the sets are standing from the Transtech stuff, and we built some new sets for the Star Trek stuff. We were not able to recycle any of the balsa wood because apparently balsa wood was discovered to be carcinogenic, gets in your lungs, and during the COVID, that's not good. So we were using just regular cardboard and pine wood or basswood or other woods that don't leave. So we threw out most of the backings to the old sets that were all made out of this balsa wood stuff because we didn't want to have that on the set. Got rid of that. And we weren't able to recycle that. We tried to recycle some of it, but none of it worked as furnishings or anything. So we have to build these set furniture and stuff. It'll resemble the Star Trek Picard because it's a Star Trek spoof. It'll look, you know, kind of funky and hologrammy and stuff. That'd be cool. But it won't look. There won't be holograms. It'll just look kind of like it. Yeah, it's cardboard and wood sets and stuff. Ships are built out of wood. They're built out of basswood and pine and a little bit of poplar. Yeah, because we tried some other test models and cardboard ones and other ones. Wood wasn't quite right. And I asked my mother, what did Bill Galinsky use to build his ships with? He built these model ships. This was basswood and poplar. All right, I'll get that. So it did. Yeah, so it was a little stronger than the other stuff. Yeah, and we had parts left over. We had like pieces, paneling left over that we couldn't use for the walls because it would bow and shift and do all kinds of funky stuff. It was very, very weak. It might have been, the paneling was plywood balsa, I guess. That's probably why I was doing that. And we had a lot of leftovers. So we took the leftovers and slapped them onto paneling and slapped them around the paneling and everything because it was years ago when I was a kid. Oh, a long time ago. Bill Galinsky, Uncle Bill. He built these boats in Minnesota. In Minnesota. Yes. Not far from the Kensington site, incidentally. But yes, Minnesota, Duluth, Minnesota. That was actually the other way. But not far. You could get there in 50 minutes. Freeway. Anyway, we didn't go to the Kensington site, but the Slatteries did. Hey, anyway, so yes, because they're Holmans. That's beside the point that they are. Not the Galinskys, but the Slatteries. Now, so he built boats and put them in the boat museum there. These tugboats, boats, everything. The wood. What did he use for the wood boats? He built them in the basement. And as a naive 11-year-old, I was like, or 10-year-old, can you just build me an aircraft carrier? So, well, I don't do that kind of boat. It's a ship. But so yeah, the love of doing cardboard and wooden robots and ships stemmed from there. With the Carta and all that stuff. In fact, one of those old videos is me trying to build one of the first Cartas. And there's a video of it. And it's badly filmed because I didn't know what I was doing. There's also, yeah, we wouldn't be able to release to the public stuff that we've done that's raunchy. It's probably okay to release the birthday stuff, Kal Kat birthday stuff, because it's not that bad. But the Deadly Hour, nope, can't release that. It's just too gross. So. But for our own benefit, our own edification, having a copy of the Deadly Hour is cool because and then put it up there. That's the early '90s. We were trying to be all like the hip and stuff. Well, you know, there's the YouTube guidelines and things. You can't be gross on YouTube, certainly. But yeah, maybe we don't want to have like. You know, there's some homophobic jokes in there and stuff, messed up like bestiality jokes and stuff. We don't want to have that in there necessarily, even though we were making fun of the stereotypes. I don't think it's quite comes off as that we were making fun of it. They might think questionably of that and wonder, like, why is that guy doing that? Also, a lot of the music from various Christmas videos, there's music in the background that you couldn't put on YouTube anyway. Even though it's ridiculous because there's old Christmas videos from '89 are not going to have like excellent quality audio mixing, so you're not going to have. Yeah, why would they think that that's a riff off of a Frank Sinatra song or something? It's like it's obviously not. It's an old Christmas video. Like, geesh. Or there was a birthday party, a Dan birthday party. It was like 8. Where there's music playing in the background, that would get flagged because even though there was rock music playing in the background, baseball like camp thing. It's like, really? Okay, YouTube. We couldn't play that either. Yeah. So we couldn't really put up the funeral slideshow with its existing music, really, because it would throw off the music. But yeah, it cut the ending off. But yeah, that other thing was probably just a distraction, making the family video thing, whatever. And it's like, well, I'm not going to spend any time on that, really. Just some of it here and there, because it's too long. There's literally hours and hours. I think there's 15 volumes or something of roughly 2 hours each. 30. It's a full series of stuff, mainly the 80s and 90s, a little bit in the 2000s. Then it jumps into the music of First Press the series, following the On Location saga timeline. But none of it is from On Location, from the published On Location. It's all other stuff. Also the church group stuff, like the Calling movies. There were 4 movies that I was in, that I filmed. I was in. The Calling movies, the First Press movies, First Press 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and the Calling, Curtain Call, all that. Yeah, there were movies, and I was mainly the camera person and the director of the film, not of the church film. Usually the director back then was either Kim Clevenger or Sarah Bentley. Yeah, they were the directors, so I can say that. But all the music is all LLC, like copyrighted church music. I can't put that out there. So yeah, you won't. But you'd only part of that you'd see is whatever they were doing behind the scenes. Another thing is the 28th birthday, the most awesome birthday party. It was the cast birthday party, in which an actual band, rock band, Two Car Garage, local rock band. Yeah, that we knew. And one of them was an animator, went on to become a famous Lucasfilm and then Star Trek Online animator, Scott Boyd. He and then does other things too as well. He did some video games. So he was one of the band members. He was young adults. Yeah, he was a little younger than me, so he would have been young adult, 22 or 23 then, and yeah, so he did yeah, it was cool. So he did all the music for the video, and there's music from other things playing in the background. So all the score, can't put it on YouTube. It's got a score that goes on. Yeah, they'll say like, wait a minute, now I can have a version of the video for my own edification, show it to people for free, say, okay, here it is, here's a little disc, here's a little MP4, you want to watch it, but can't post this anywhere. So yeah, so there's a lot of guidelines in there, which did screw up the 80th birthday party, because I mentioned the guidelines and all that stuff, and they thought I was going to put the 80th birthday party live streaming, Mother's 80th birthday party. Now she's 86. And this is 80. And they freaked out. They didn't want the live stream of this thing up there. They thought it was live streaming it right then. I was just mentioning it. I was just saying that it was impossible to use this area for the music in the background. YouTube. I wasn't saying I was literally doing it. I was just saying it was impossible to do it. Yeah. And then years later, they didn't want the slideshow up not for the music, though. Actually, the music would have flagged it anyways. There you go. Would have flagged for the music. So yeah, it wouldn't have worked anyway. Slideshow in 2019 wouldn't work. Yeah. This stupid thing keeps going off. What the hell is that? What the hell is that? Stop. Yeah, the slideshow wouldn't go up for. Yeah, so I was just telling you about the slideshow. Yeah, so there's all kinds of rules and restrictions, which I'm sure my sister will ignore. So I'll give her the versions of the videos that she wants at some point, and she'll try and post them on her YouTube channel and on Instagram or something, and clips from it. The uncut videos, she can cut them herself. She can take the MP4s into her own editing program and do what she wants with those that aren't directly mine. But yeah, she tries to post them, YouTube will flag them. because music, music in there. Yeah, I can't use it. Can't use it. But she doesn't have a Facebook channel. She's got all the other social media. She's all the Facebooks and all that stuff. I do have a little bit of a Facebook still, but the main channel's gone. So using the Cats channel and the other one, the On Location Cats channel and the other one. So Tim and his Prime can find me there, and we'll get Tim back on the set, have him make cameo in that Starcrackers thing, because I bet he would like that. But if he can't do much moving around nowadays, we'll just have him play like the Oracle from Batman, and we'll have him like in the background going, "Okay, I figured out how to hack the computer." Whoa, yeah. He just sit there, hack the computer. That'd be cool. Yeah. So he'd be like the Oracle, or the Admiral dude. He'd be like, "Oh, dude, oh," and he can make up an elaborate war story about what happened to him. It was a big space battle. Oh, yeah. Wasn't the COVID. It was something else. But yeah. It wasn't the COVID. Yeah. So. Anyway, so. Oh yes, and appears that Brian's story no longer has a social media. It's not findable. He probably just quit Facebook for whatever reason. Didn't want to be on it anymore. That's probably what happened. Yeah, I think that's what probably happened. Or is assumed a secret identity, because I don't know what's up with that. To find out what's up with that. I'll have to ask. Yes. But not right now, because I don't go on Facebook that much. Because it's weirdly addicting and annoying and stuff. And I was currently working on... Let's talk about something else. I was currently working on this new script for that Star Trek thing. And going over that. And, yeah, so... Yeah, I was currently, like, incorporating blogs in there, because the Reddit blogs about Star Trek Picard. It was a very difficult to write episode, because I kind of liked the Star Trek Picard show, and they liked Lower Decks. They didn't like Picard so much. So that episode was difficult to write. What the trick was to change the dialogue so that you're turning in the same way that we did with the jokey sort of Jason Colavito parodies that we did as Maelstrom and the Fallen Ones about the New Atlantis planet with the alien ship and all that from this year. Late last year and early this year. That's what those were. Those two stories were we combined the elements of the Distant Destiny story that was rejected with the elements of the Starcracker story that was rejected, and then kept them and turned them into Maelstrom. And then we kept, which made it not quite Maelstrom, just references it. It's not really a spoof. So they combined forces on planet Atlantis. The first of the Fallen Ones was written. We call it Jason Vitacola instead. And we had Vitacola go down to the planet as a captain and explorer on the planet. He finds a bunch of stuff going on and about ancient aliens and giants. It's basically the plot where this planet, it's the 31st century in the time of Discovery Season 3, and they apparently worship ancient aliens and other shows like it, and him as well. So they go to his blog, and a bunch of the fringe guys get included in there, but I make them former martial arts sportist TMS people. Change their names. So they're in there too. We have Tomat and Saltine and a bunch of funny names. Now in the Starcrackers one, we changed it even more. We put another layer of weirdness. Set it in 2560 instead. Used kind of the same information, but also scrambled the text and the words of blog. It's not his actual blogs. It's the responses. All comments of the blogs. That's legal. Now if we had cribbed his actual dialogue and said it's ours, that would be illegal. That would be copyright stealing. We didn't do that. What we did is we used the blog and then scrambled it in Google Translate. And then included Star Trek and space aliens and things like that. So it's not the blog. It's changed dramatically into a sci-fi story based on individual stories about giants and monsters in Atlantis, and one of the main stories in there is a 100-page story about grave robbing. Anyway, so yeah, so that's what we were messing around with. Anyway, so the tape is ending. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's not important. Anyway, it's enough. It's update.